Hello, guys. Welcome back to another episode here on African Confessions. There is a message that I want to share with you guys, and this message, it comes from a translation of a message that I received, and the translation reads like this. Hello, my brother. Can you please post for me as anonymous? I am a woman who is living in her country with her family right here in Zim. Me and my husband, we have a very large piece of land that we managed to buy. And if you ever visit us, my brother, you will even be shocked because the house that me and my husband managed to build, it is a very beautiful modern house that is on our farm. So for me and my husband to be where we are right now, some sacrifices had to be done. My story with my husband, it started when him and I were still in South Africa. We were given this other thing that is called a Sandawana. And this thing, my brother, we do not even know how to throw it away. Whilst we were there in South Africa, I was working as a hairdresser, and my husband, he was just doing some piece jobs. But we were not fortunate enough because no matter how hard we would try to save up for something good, there was always something bad that kept on happening to me or to my husband. And the money that we were earning whilst we were there in South Africa, it was never enough. Each and every day we would try to go to work. We would work from Sunday to Sunday, but it was like we were not even employed. That was when my husband one day said that, my dear wife, us being in South Africa, I think that we are only here to buy food and to pay rent, because when I have looked at my life, I see that we are not doing anything meaningful. If we are struggling in this foreign land, what is the use for us to be struggling in a land that is not ours? Is it not much better that we go back home, then we suffer from poverty, but knowing that we are in our own country? When he said this, my brother, this was not okay with me. I said we cannot return back home, because if we return back home, then how are we going to feed the kids? And in our own family, I am like the breadwinner in our family. I said I cannot risk getting out of South Africa so that we can just go and stay in the village. But my husband kept on insisting and saying that this land, it has refused to give me its blessings. It is far much better that we return back home. Me and my husband, we started quarreling until one day when my husband returned back home from work, and he was very happy. So I started asking him, why was he happy like that? He then said that when he was coming back from work at the taxi rank where we used to catch our taxis so that we can return back to the location, he said that he had spoken with this other South African man who was a traditional healer. He said, you still remember him? And I said, yes. Each and every time when we go to town, I always see that you love speaking with that herbalist. I don't know why you love speaking with herbalist, because you and I, we are both Christians. He then started telling me everything that the man had told him, and I said, no, that is very wrong. I think it is far much better that we stick to the word of God. So my husband, whilst he was having that conversation with that South African herbalist, the herbalist had told him that he knows of this other Mozambican traditional healer who could sell something that is called a Sandawana, so that my husband and I, we can be able to get some money. That man promised my husband that this thing, it does not even require any blood. That is the most safest way to do money making rituals. Or like he had told my husband, he had said something like ukutwala, and my husband had agreed, and he had even left his money, because that man had said that he only needed 100 rand so that he can give my husband the directions so that we could go to that man who was from Mozambique, but he was in another province, and the province, it was a little bit far off from where we were staying at that time. I refused, my brother, and I said, this is very wrong. But anyway, my husband managed to convince me. After my husband had convinced me, he then took me and we got onto the bus and we traveled going to Mpumalanga. That is where that traditional healer who was from Mozambique was staying. When we arrived at that man's place, yeah, you could see that indeed people out there, they are ritualists. There were a lot of big cars, nice cars, and a lot of wealthy people that were just sitting in line. Me and my husband, we can say that we were the poorest of the poorest that were at that place, and we were really embarrassed because everyone that was there, you could see that these people, they are living a very good life. There was even a man who had brought all of his taxes at that time when we had gone to Mpumalanga. So there were some rituals that were supposed to be performed on those taxis so that they won't have an accident. We stayed there for the first day, and since there was a lot of people and that man, he had brought his taxis, so each and every taxi there was a ritual that was supposed to be done on that taxi. So it took that traditional healer almost the whole day to consult with his other clients as well as doing those rituals on all of that man's taxis. So that day we had to sleep at that man's house. At that man's house there is even a tent that is inside his yard, so that if you do not get any assistance, then tomorrow morning you will be amongst the first ones that will be assisted. Whilst we were sleeping, my brother, I woke up and I saw that all over that traditional healer's yard there were some animals that were just walking around. These animals, sometimes you could see that from the waist going upwards, it will be an animal that will be resembling a hyena or a dog, but from the waist going downwards, it would have the body of a man or of a woman. And mind you, all of these animals that were so strange, they were just walking around being naked, and you could see the private parts of a human being. And those animals, my brother, they even attempted to have intercourse with some of the clients that were also sleeping with us in that tent. When one of those strange animals saw that I had seen everything that was happening, that was when one just rushed to the place where I was sleeping, and I do not even know what it did with me, but I just fell asleep throughout the night. I only woke up the next day. When we woke up the next day, that was when we were called into the consultation room. That was when my husband was given something that was going to turn out to be a Sandawana, but it was a very simple thing. That was when my husband was given this other charm that was going to turn out to be a Sandawana. This charm, it represented a mouse, and it had very strange furs and a lot of traditional designs. My husband was then told that he was supposed to place that toy in a place whereby it would always be dark until we would have started making money. And after we would have made our money, then we were supposed to return back to that traditional healer so that he can tell us what we were supposed to do next. Me and my husband, we returned back home. And when we had returned back home, we made sure that we hid that toy that looked like a mouse underneath our bed, and after that we covered it with a blanket so as to make sure that no light was ever going to reach that toy. My brother, from there on, my husband, whenever he would have gone to town, he would always come back with a wallet, and he would say, "This wallet, my wife, you know what happened? When I was walking, there was someone that just dropped this wallet. So when I wanted to return back that wallet, I just heard a voice saying that, keep it, it is yours." This story, my brother, it happened for the whole month. And each and every day, my husband was bringing something like 10,000 or even 11,000 rands. And all of those people that were losing money, I don't know where they were going with all of that money. How can someone wake up in the morning and they just take 10,000 or 11,000 cash and go to work with that cash. My husband was picking up money everywhere, at his workplace, even in the taxi, in the shop. Someone would just forget a wallet or anything. After that, that was when my husband said that, look, all of this money that we have gotten, some people are going to find out that we have money in the house, because we were now having money that was close to 200 and something thousand rands. And mind you, me and my husband, this was like our first time ever having money that was more than 9,000 rands in the house. We used to have something like only 4,000 and never anything more than that. So having all of this money, it made us to feel very nervous and not to trust anyone. If anyone would come knocking on our door, my husband would just say, you see, we need to go back home. And I said, but that traditional healer said that we are supposed to return back so that he can tell us what we are supposed to do with this toy. My husband said, what if we go there, then all of the money will just disappear? Is it not clever that we return back home, we buy some cows and we buy a lot of livestock, and we can even build our house, and when we come back and return this man's Sandawana, then at least you and I, we will know that we have a better start in life than if we go there. Maybe that man is going to steal all of our money. And he said that, you know, that here in South Africa they can even kill you with a gun. And I was really scared, as someone who was always nervous. I then said, it is fine, let us return back home. And I said, how are we going to return back home? Because on a bus, maybe they are going to find out that we have all of this money. So my husband said that, you know what we are going to do? Let us buy some furniture. So we ended up buying 2 TVs, and when we bought those TVs, my brother, we opened them up and we loaded the money inside the TV. He even bought a laptop and he removed everything that was inside the laptop, and we just loaded the money in there. And some of the money, I just tied it around my waist, and the money that I could not fit into my bra, my husband then took it and he took some of it and he placed it into his shoes as well. In his pockets, he bought this other short, you know, there are those small shorts that have some pockets, and he was wearing it, and on top of that he was wearing a trousers. So he hid the money inside that small short. That is how we came here to Zim. When we came here to Zim, immediately we then bought this large piece of land and we started building. So what started surprising me and my husband is that after we had used the money, that was when we saw that the money kept on coming back to us. If we would go out there and if we would buy cement so that we can finish off building, when we would return back home, that money, we would always find it in bed. Even right now, that is what happens to me and my husband. If we go out together to buy something, it only happens when we are buying something together. The moment that we buy that thing, my husband will always say that I feel that my hands are so itchy. And when we return back home, we will always find out that the money that we had used when we were buying whatever we would be buying, it would have returned back into our bedroom. This lifestyle that we are living, it is giving me a lot of stress, because currently my husband, when he is sleeping, you even be scared to sleep in the room where you'll be sleeping, because the sounds that come out of his throat, they are demonic and very scary sounds. Sometimes what I do is that I just get out of the bedroom and try and watch TV until the morning comes. Whenever it is during the night time, there is no peace in my bedroom. My husband, it is like he's transformed and he becomes a scary animal. And when we wake up in the morning, if I ask him, like, do you remember anything? My husband will always say, I do not remember anything. And my husband, he is a man that has a lot of secrets. Now that he has money, he is even worse. When we were in South Africa, It was much better. He would do some of the things in secret, but now my husband, he is even worse. I suspect that my husband, when we arrived back home, he started going around and he got more demons on top of more demons, because there was one day when me and my husband, we were just resting outside. That was when we saw a snake. Like us staying in the farm, there are a lot of snakes. So that snake, my brother, it was just casually walking around and it was not even scared of anyone. That was when my husband said that, my wife, go indoors and prepare some porridge. And I said, hey, prepare some porridge for who? And my husband said, prepare some porridge for this snake. And I said, what are you trying to tell me? What have you done? My husband then started laughing and he got inside and he said, I was just joking with you. I just feel so hungry. That is why I said, go and prepare some porridge. And I followed him and I said, why did you say that I should prepare some porridge? And after preparing that porridge, I was supposed to give it to that snake that we saw outside, the snake that was not even afraid of people. My husband finished off cooking that porridge and he said, let me go out because I just want to get some fresh air. I do not want us to fight. He then drove the car as if he was just going around our farm. But I suspect that my husband, he went and he got this spiritual snake that he is feeding with the porridge that he cooks in secret.